Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back everybody.
So guys, we just wanted to invite you all to check and see if you are subscribed to both Evolutionary Energy Arts, which is the original channel that we put up about, 5.5 years ago, I think now, or something like that, and EEARTS, Time Flies. Have you noticed how time is flying? I mean, it's just changing. It seems like it's speeding up rapidly. And then EEARTS, which we try to post on every day. Yesterday we didn't get to it, but we did get a video up on Evolutionary Energy Arts that was talking about how the government had tweeted, in the event of a draft. Oh, we could see what's coming, guys. We could see what's coming. And we see the president saying casually, well, let's just listen to his own words, right?
With regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well. And because both Russia and Ukraine have been the breadbasket of Europe in terms of wheat, for example, just to give one example. But we had a long discussion in the G7 with with both the United States, which has a significant, the third largest producer of wheat in the world, as well as Canada, which is also a major producer. And we both talked about how we could increase and disseminate more rapidly food shortages. And in addition to that, we talked about urging all the...
I just got to stop right there. Let's just listen to this 1 second.
In addition to that, we talked about increase and disseminate in the world, as well as Canada, which is also a major producer. And we both talked about how we could increase and disseminate more rapidly food shortages.
Yeah, they're going to increase and disseminate more rapidly food shortages. This is really what's going on. This is like a Pasaki. I know, it's Jensaki. But I like saying Pasaki. It's a Pasaki flub.
Yes.
And a Biden flub, and this is now there. Okay, there are some words of reality right there.
Could increase
words of truth.
Disseminate more rapidly food shortages.
There you go. That's that. Now he's given us some real truth because he didn't over here.
Food shortage. Yes, we did. So talk about food shortages, and it's going to be real. We don't have a food shortage problem. We have a leadership problem. We have plenty of food. With regard to food shortage, yes, we did. So talk about food shortages, and it's going to be real. We don't have a food shortage problem. We have a leadership problem.
Well, now that he's in the apparent position of leadership, there's no problems. Now it's a real food shortage problem. It's not a leadership right now. He couldn't be a leader if his life depended on it. He can't even make up his mind as to what color depends toward this particular day.
Sometimes that can be a real serious decision. I'm sure of it. I'm just sure of it. Let's not judge him.
This is the apocalypse. This is the great unveiling. We have people being nominated for the Supreme Court that don't know how to define what a woman is. I mean, these people, I would love to give IQ tests to everybody in Congress, to all these leadership positions. I have a feeling there would be some real shocking numbers unveiled. Real shocking. That would let people know these aren't our leaders. Hello.
I know. These are beings that were placed in a position because of their bloodline, not because of what they know, but who they know.
Yeah, and their tendencies to go along with what will ever do good for their family and themselves, as opposed to doing good for the greater good, for the people that they supposedly serve, which they obviously don't. So we have Greek supermarkets restricting flour, sunflower oil purchases, and as customers start hoarding, similar limits enforced across Europe amidst shortages. Now, laws are starting to go into place where the common people can't stock up. This is why we've been saying for 5 years, stock up, get ready. because it's coming and it's here now. And if you guys had a chance to go check out David, let me bring it up real quick. And I had to send him a message and say, man, you're not pulling back any words, are you? This one right here from a day ago, because he just basically said, by the end of the year, we're going to have a global famine. Global famine. That's a big statement. So I just texted him. I said, boy, you're not pulling any punches, are you? And it was interesting, too, because he understands the bigger picture. He understands the real bigger picture as well, which he doesn't always touch on quite so much as we do. But he understands that there are powers that are affecting everything from the shadows. It's just obvious to anybody that's looked at these, looked at the real chain of command, so to speak. And again, people like David Icke, have been talking about the situation for 30 plus years. And when I first heard David Icke, I thought, yeah, there's a resonance here. Sounds a little bit on the crazy side, but there's a resonance. And then after all the firsthand things we've witnessed and experienced, we know he's been pretty damn accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it does take a little while to awaken because there's a lot of information that we're not really in agreement with that comes out at first. But as you listen and as you read and as your abilities come online, you start to understand, wow, there is so much going on behind the scenes. And this is what makes people want to prepare for situations. And if nothing else, prepare for yourself and for your family, because you're going to be the go-to person when everything really starts to show itself. People are going to want answers and you're going to have them.
And again, we know what the end game is, so just think back and think logically, okay, so they want to bring in a digital, right? So that means we are going to have power. We might have rolling outages. We might get used to rolling blackouts where hey, you're not going to have power this day or for this certain amount of hours. But ultimately, it's through the technology that they do control us, and they need this technology. I was wondering if anybody else out there experienced anything recently that almost seems like AI, or let's just put the ads that we see, right, on different websites, as if there's something. Twice yesterday, I thought of something. I didn't speak it. I didn't say, hey, to Cindy, what do you think about... Not at all. I just thought it. And she, in fact, had triggered a thought in my mind. And I'll share with you guys. One of them was the idea that obviously there's going to be gas shortages. This is not going to go away. Perhaps rationing and gas too, where you're only going to get so many gallons a week and everything. So, I had thought about, and we had thought about, something along the lines of maybe a small motorcycle or something like an electric hybrid. I had my motorcycle in the past, so I enjoyed riding. And I had just thought it, thinking, I should check and see if there's anything for sale, inexpensive, maybe somebody, locally, and then poofed. I thought it. I didn't say it. I didn't search. And then the very next thing I bring up, that was an ad there for an electric hybrid. Like motorcycle, so to speak. And it was the second time in the day yesterday that I had thought about something. I didn't search it. I didn't say it. Because I know they could listen in, and they do listen in. But it was just the thoughts that I picked up, and then there was something else that was sitting there. There was something else I had forgotten to get as far as, stocking up on. And there was an ad for that. It's really pretty wild, but I do think that they have AI that could literally read our minds now.
Mm-hmm. They sure do. They definitely have that AI, and it's moving itself more and more into our personal lives. And I think it was a couple months ago when, I don't know if you guys remember, if I should even say this name, I don't want to trigger anything, but
The leader up north?
Yeah, the leader up north,
Yeah.
he went into hiding. I mean, what the guides told me is that they were quite concerned and they wanted to call in bigger guns. They wanted more protection, and it was
Meaning the structure of the planet, the real structure of the planet. As we know, again, you could just look at, the leader of the land above the U.S., and he's another actor. He's an actor. And he's also, just a puppet under the, FEW, the few. Let's do that for an acronym. Put that up to a mirror. What's FEW up to a mirror? And, he looked for help because he was panicking, because the people were rising up to a point where he was nervous. He was starting to get fearful for his life and everything. They know this time's coming. They know the time's coming when the people of the planet will no longer take it. And so they need to have that technological advantage. They need to be able to call out the drones and the robots and the mechanized vehicles that nobody will see. All those satellites that are going up into space and all, which, many of them are going to have technology that a person could walk out of their house and poof, they're no longer there. They're just gone. They're just, a little burn mark on the grass, so to speak. That's the type of technology that's coming and already in place.
right. And it wasn't long after that it is like the AI did ratchet itself up, and now it's not just about talking about things. I mean, because that became common knowledge. You talk about something, you're going to get an ad, but now it's thinking. You think about something, you're going to get an ad. And for them, it's the control of the information is what's giving them power now. So, and then we do have a lot of this going on, and it is ratcheting up. So, and we also have, what we have is someone was speaking of what we call a planetary siege. And I don't generally like to share this information unless I get it several times over. But these entities are now in the picture. Now, are they going to take over right away? No. This is going to be kind of a slow squeeze, like a snake eating a rat. So, but we do have time to continue to prepare. But I kept getting this vision in my head that these beings are now closer to doing things for themselves. So, this doesn't mean that all is over. They're not going to show themselves, but they are taking over, and they can be a little bit ruthless, So these are things that we need to take into consideration and really hone in to our center and our spiritual knowledge, so that is going on around us isn't going to affect our human experience. We really need to get to that point, and that's why Mike and I talk about it so much, is we're all going to be faced with some kind of chaos, and we need to remain ourselves. We need to be true to our path here on earth.
So what Cindy saw was that there's three of them, right?
Yeah,
there's at least three that are here, like kind of taking over for the humans that have been in position of power, and they're given the orders directly. So again, when we've talked about the line of power, you have the basically the Gigi human hybrids that are the politicians that we see, and some of the Gigis that when they pass on, they'll incarnate back into the same bloodlines. That's why you have the same families always in these positions of power. And above the Gigi, you have the Anunnaki, who are not here right now, but who will be here in mass in about 20 years' time if things go along with their plans. Again, many of us can ascend out. There's going to be waves of ascension where people can ascend according to their own specific frequency and vibration, and find themselves at a higher plane of existence outside of the reach of these dark entities. So what these dark entities want to do is they're all about keeping as many humans around as possible. They want to have their workforce, their energy force, their fuel, their food, in a way, with the loosh. And warfare again creates this horrible energy that is given off that actually feeds beings. And so These beings are above the Anunnaki. These are the ones that conquered, so to speak, the Anunnaki themselves, and they have an agreement with. And so, they're here actually. And again, you could look at it in a biblical sense, because while it is very distorted, they do give you the whole thing too. Woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil comes with great wrath, knowing his time is short. But again, this is actually a battle that's never ended. And this goes back to the Lyran Wars and earlier than that as well. This battle is still ongoing on different densities. Fourth density, where we are heading, is really where most of the action is.
Right, that's where people are going to see the most things, and so many of us are moving into that fourth density, and at least understanding the perception that there are other entities besides that, in which is our 3D entities that are in front of us. Everybody, or not everybody, but many people are starting to understand that it's not just us here. It's not just that one sliver of that light spectrum. There's much, much more all around us, and we are going to have the choice where we're going to reside. It's going to be our choice, and to do that, we need to understand things and rise up in vibration, so we at least have the perception to know where our soul wants to be.
Absolutely. And so, how can you get people to comply? Well, it's ultimately going to be a case of starving them out to where they will go along with anything just to get some food, just to, get a bag of rice, just to keep the kids, from starving. So leaders warn of unprecedented global food crisis risk. Unprecedented. They didn't even just say unprecedented in modern times. Food security. Well, again, he's already kind of told you the whole thing. This is a means to an end. We need to be growing our own food as much as possible. We need to be getting outside of the power structure of these beings who don't work for us. Who does number 1 and number 2 serve? They serve something like this, ultimately. Mm-hmm. That's who they're serving. They're not serving you. They're not serving us. They're holding things in a certain status quo until, the real power structure gets here. That's the bottom line. And you see, the whole monetary system is just a tool, as he's going to commit $1 billion in humanitarian assistance to get more relief. As we know, the U.S. is basically broke, and many are starting to wonder, well, what happens when the countries that we owe the money to, which is primarily China and Japan, call in their debts? In very different situation with China and Japan, because China is on the other side of the fence. As far as, they're more allied with Russia. They have all sorts of agreements with Russia. Of course, like Cindy was, saying and sharing, she sees that ultimately all these players understand that they're working towards one common goal. And that is the implementation of a system that people cannot get out of. And, we have to be working on the exact opposite thing. And we have China's pursuit of food security comes as crop conditions set to be the worst in history. Yeah, is it just coincidence that, this conflict is going on in a place where you have the number 1 and number 2 wheat suppliers in the world at odds with each other and destroying everything around them and not planting? No, of course. This is the perfect place to create more havoc with food scarcity. And it's just one in a series of things, as we know. And we had talked about how China panic hoarded half the world's corn and other grains, which they have. They've stocked it up to massive levels. Ukraine produced 49.6% global sunflower oil, 10% of global wheat, 12.6% global barley, 15.3% global maize, and all that's coming offline. And then, Russia as well. This is one too perfect storm. And as you see this article from Zero Hedge, the real reset is coming. Yeah, And isn't it curious that 46 made the comment of a new world order? He had to bring up that term. Well, the first George Bush, he gave the exact same term. When they give these out, this is code. This is code to all the people in the know, all the members of these secret societies that, okay, we're going to plan B. We're going to another phase. This is a code that comes out to let people know that, things are progressing in a way in which has been planned for decades and decades and decades. Meanwhile, we have more eruptions. Anak Krakatoa has erupted again. This is a very active volcano, as many know. So it was a small eruption. The ash only went up to 3,800 feet. Over here, we have another volcano showing activity, and it's probably going to be showing some ash up into the sky pretty soon as well. The last time this is over in Chile, erupted was from 1988 to 1990. It was a VEI3. So again, all these things add to the global cooling that's coming. So new activity for 4 volcanoes in the past week, and during the same period, we had ongoing activity for 20. And we have a moderately strong 1.4 M-class solar flare erupt from AR 2974. And this one did cause some radio blackouts as well, as you could see, more over towards India, Australia, Southeast Asia, over in towards the Middle East, and also some of far eastern Africa. There's a possibility of a glancing blow from a CME on the 28th as well. Shouldn't be anything major, but we all feel this energy now. As the sun is doing its thing, Source, God with a big G, is doing its thing, trying to, bring us some light into this world that has been controlled by such darkness.
Right, and we're going to put ourselves in a position where we're no longer controlled, but that is what that's going to take is some self-discipline and finding our spiritual practice, whatever that might be, whatever feels really good for you. And we teach a lot of that on this channel, and we have a lot of playlists to go through. There's a whole lot of information to process and understand, but we have it all here. We do talk about a lot of the scary things on Evolutionary, but you can come here and find some comfort through mantras, meditation, Qigong. There's all kinds of things we can do to help ourselves.
And this is going to go up on EEARTS, where we will talk about things still like earth change related and prepping. But majority is what we're going to try to focus on too on EEARTS is giving people actual help. And we've worked on thousands of people energetically with energy work, biofield tuning, spiritual coaching, also sharing things like Vedic astrology, doing their charts. And the people that have adapted Qigong and mantras into their lives are different. It's just that simple. They've found a way to root and to ground and to, get themselves some peace. They've been able to move forward. They've grown spiritually and they've basically they're evolving. And so, would strongly recommend checking out the mantras playlist. There's 33 in there, 33 at the moment, and then 41 different videos on Qigong. And so, do check that playlist out. It's always interesting because we'll get comments from time to time. As I want to go back over here. We'll get comments from time to time with people that will say something like yesterday. There was a comment where somebody said, "Why aren't you talking about the pole shift? I can't believe you're not talking about the pole shift." The 261,000 views 4 years ago, we were talking about the pole shift. Of course, we've talked about everything, but as time has gone on, we've realized too that there is a magnetic pole reversal underway. Yes, there is a grand solar minimum underway. But the thing that we didn't understand the depth of, we always knew there were controllers behind the scenes. We've always known this. But the technologies involved and how much they can trigger is just mind-blowing. And most people don't have a clue that there's technologies out there that can literally move moons from one position in a solar system to a totally another position. And there's technology out there that could actually trigger a grand solar minimum. That there's technology out there that can do things that we can't even think of unless we've studied the Kardashev scale and look logically at how technology would increase in other extraterrestrial societies and just what type of things would be possible. Then maybe we get an inkling of the technology that is out there. So yeah, this was before the channel got censored, and you can see 909,000 views. And I've seen this happen with so many other channels, and then all of a sudden, they're getting tiny views. Yeah, it's because the powers that be control the media. They control everything. So whatever is giving away too much, they just, they put the kibosh on, so to speak.
Right. I mean, we've noticed more and more they spend a lot of time running their assessments or running their checks, and it seems like they're just putting filters in. So we deal with this all the time, but thanks you guys for all of your support, because we really, really can do this work because of most of you. We can keep getting the word out, and we really appreciate you.
Absolutely. As always, guys, thanks for your support over on Patreon. And also on Ko-Fi, where you could do a one-time donation or monthly support just like Patreon. And also check out Medicinal Foods. Make sure you use coupon code EEA. You get a discount. It does support the channel as well. You need to be detoxing every week, I want to say at least. Detoxing, and every single day, think about what you're putting into your body. Fast foods, nanu.
Mm-hmm.
Fast foods, nanu. Seriously, the guides have said, don't even do what I might have been in habit. Like if I was going cross country and doing a lot of road trip, I would never go in order number one. I haven't drank soda in 20 years at least. I wouldn't drink any soda. I wouldn't eat any, real garbage. But you know what? I might go in and get fries in the past. Or, what was the name? Frosty. Remember Wendy's? They make Frosties. Yeah, there would be times when I would succumb and go get fries or a Frosty. But I wouldn't even do that anymore. And we haven't eaten anything fast food, as you can hear the monkeys in the background.
Sorry, guys.
And even we've been warned by the guides to big chains. So like your Olive Gardens, your Applebee's. Basically, when you look at it, a lot of places there's certain companies out there that provide food to all your big restaurant chains and stuff. And so much of the food that we eat is compromised. For one, GMOs, for two, all sorts of pesticides. And there's toxins being, just open the door, there's toxins being spread in the air every single day. So you need to constantly be detoxing. And at the moment, as we're making this, I'm on about hour 36 of a water and herbal tea fast. And, feel fine. Perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to women and our bodies, you really need to study up a little bit before you just go on a fast. It cycles with your cycle. So that's really important that you're not fasting at a time. Sorry, the vicious monkeys are at it. At a time when you are going into your cycle, because that can deplete you. And we like to use Dr. Mindy Pelz. I think it's Pelz. She has a lot of really good information and understanding on fasting. So please do your research before you do any of this stuff, because it's really, that way it can benefit you to its fullest. And Mike's going to pull up her YouTube channel. She's really been very instrumental in helping me do the fasting for my thyroid, for all kinds of stuff, and helping us use our energy for things that we want to use it for.
Absolutely, yeah. So she's fascinating. She's got lots of good info. Again, we can definitely lower blood pressure. We could detox. Cancer is such a big problem. It's going to be a bigger problem than ever in this world now with everything that's going on. One way to get rid of cancerous cells is stop eating for a little period.
Yeah.
Because, you will start to break down. The very first cells the body breaks down are things that are cancerous, are things that are abnormal. So at this point, 36 hours into the fast, I think I'll re-upload a fasting video or two that we did as well, just because we've done many, and we have that playlist as well. And we've done them on both channels under Natural Health, Wellness, and Fitness. And here's some that we've done, which, again, we could re-upload these because a lot of times people just don't go into the playlist. You don't think to look at it. You just look at what's, the new videos out. But what happens is the first thing that the body breaks down is cancerous cells. So if we're fasting on a regular basis, things like even intermittent fasting, so, 16 hours, maybe 20, you don't eat. And then you eat in an 8-hour window or maybe less. I mean, I typically like to eat in, I would say, a 4 to 6 hour window. That's where I feel best. So, if we end up having dinner at like 6 and then go ahead and have a snack, which for us would typically be Greek yogurt. It's not green, guys. And berries. That would be like a typical snack at, say, 9 or 10 o'clock, and then not eat again until 6. One thing that's going to come to pass with the food shortages is, people are going to have to adapt to different ways of eating, because this is going to be around for a while.
Right, and this is why we want to get our gardens started, because we need that good, organic, homegrown food, because a lot of things that are going to be put in their place are a lot of food that's just not healthy for us. The white flours, white rice, white sugar, all of those things. That's another thing when you start to get into healthy living, is you get rid of all the white everything. Just get that out of your diet and do some fasting. And I would say within the first couple weeks, you will notice such huge differences in your energy level, and you'll be looking for ways to further help yourself and help yourself get healthier, because it opens up certain neural pathways. Sorry guys, these are the monkeys. I am making a monkey playlist because they're quite entertaining. But really, it will open up neural pathways in your mind to help you look for more ways to continue to get more and more healthy, and then you're just on a path to health and wellness and spirituality, and really, it's a really great way to live. So we do want to say thank you to you guys for all of your help, all of your support. And let's see.
God bless and namaste.
Namaste.